Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Today, I had a little bit of a different video planned. It was going to be on clutter-free home habits, and I'm still going to be posting that, so stay tuned for that. But I just honestly wanted to do something that I felt currently on my heart. And that's because if I just talk about the home decor and the aesthetics and cleanliness and all of those physical things relevant to minimalism and decluttering and living a slow, simplified life, but I don't talk about those issues that are within ourselves sometimes, those mindset shifts, those habit changes, all of the thing that's inside that we can't see, then I feel like I'd be doing you a disservice. Because really, and even statistics have shown this, like if we went into somebody's home, somebody that is a hoarder, like a diagnosed hoarder, and we took out everything that they have in their home, but we never address their traumas, we never address their attachments to the stuff, we never address the why they are so attached to those things, they're going to be right back where they were because we never addressed the core, the center, those really deeper issues. We just addressed the stuff. And the stuff can definitely help. It can definitely ease our anxiety to have less things to manage and take care of. But if we don't actually address why we're so attached to things and why we kind of hold on to some things maybe longer than we should, or why we kind of keep the home the way that we do, why we keep purchasing the things that we keep purchasing, or why we have that shopping addiction, all those things, then we're really going to be right back where we were. But if you're new to this channel, hey, I'm Yessie. I'm a previous hospice nurse turned homeschool mom, and my mission is to help you savor life. So on this channel, we talk all about minimalism and slow intentional living through a holistic lens, which is basically what I've just mentioned before. It's talking about all those upbeat, beautiful things like decluttering and minimizing, but through a holistic lens, as in we're talking about those deeper things that we cannot see. We're talking about the clutter that's internal. So if you'd like to approach minimalism through this lens, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss when I post a new video. Love to have you here. So back to this topic of changing priorities. I've been thinking about this a lot lately because sometimes when things just feel like thing after thing after thing go wrong, for me personally, if you've been around my channel for a bit, you'll know that I'm somebody who prays. I definitely lean more into my faith, especially when I have issues. I definitely take those tough times, or the thing that just not even just tough times, but sometimes when I plan for something or I have this goal that I want to set and it seems like nothing is going right. Like, can you relate? I'm sure you've had moments where you want for something to happen or you're planning for something and it just seems like it's not happening. Anything that you do, it's going wrong. Like, I've definitely had those times, and I feel like a lot of us have had those times where you want for something and it's just like, really? Like thing after thing after thing goes wrong. I think it's a very human experience and it's very normal. But for me, I take it as a time to slow down and shift my focus and reprioritize. You know what's funny is I've recently heard, this was maybe like a year ago, I hadn't even heard, that in the English language, priorities wasn't actually even a word, that it was something that was kind of invented, that it used to just be priority, shifting priority, or what priority do you have? Because if you think about it, what is your priority? That means like your top, right? What matters most to you? But then we've added priorities because now all of a sudden we're like more productive and more efficient and it's all about getting things done. This society that we live in has had this shift in focus of, okay, you don't just go from having one more important thing. You need more, lots, right? You have to be really productive and you have to do all these things in order to have a successful, happy life. But when we do that, when we're focusing on trying to have so many things, what we're really doing is we're saying that all these other things that were important to us really aren't all that important. And I've really had it in the back of my mind of, are my priorities aligned? And I think that this is something important to talk about within minimalism and slow intentional living, because sometimes we say that we value something, but our actions don't align with that. So when I used to say that I prioritized family, but I was working full time and I had other projects along and I had lots of other things that I was taking just out of commitment, and I was feeling overwhelmed and I was just feeling like I was in this little hamster wheel, and yeah, I was making the money and I was bringing it home to my family, but I wasn't like fully me because I didn't have the time to really take care of myself, to do the things that I love, to be there for my family. For me, I wasn't actually showing that I valued my family, because when I arrived home after these long shifts and had to worry about what I was going to do the next day and all these things, I was kind of grouchy and I was resentful and I was a little bit mean sometimes to my husband, to my children, because I constantly felt like I was in this little hamster wheel. Sometimes we say that we value a particular hobby, but we never really pay attention to it because we're so focused on something else, or we're so focused on bringing the money home to pay the bills, to feed other shopping addictions that we might have. I had a shopping addiction, so I'm not coming at you telling you like, you have to fix these issues because I'm so perfect and I don't have those issues. I'm actually like started this YouTube channel because I have had a lot of these issues. I definitely was a shopaholic. So before, if you haven't been around this channel, let me just tell you, before minimalism, my husband and I rented a 3-bed, 2-bath home. And I didn't have kids at that time, but I had clothes in every single one of those closets. I had stuff in every single one of those rooms. I had all sorts of things that I thought were going to magically like fix issues. So we had like a traction machine, and I started to try to exercise, and I thought, oh, let me get a treadmill and try that out. And I got so many things just to try it out, and because I felt like I needed a lot of things to fix whatever issue I was having at that moment. And I fell for this trap of constantly feeling like I needed something more, something more. And at that time, if I said that my priority was being a good steward of my money, my actions didn't show that. What does this say about my priorities? How can I reprioritize? What are my values? What is my priority? And how can I live my life in a way that aligns with that? Because I used to say that I prioritized a lot of things. Like, for example, I told you the example of family. I used to say that I prioritized my family, but it really, honestly, it wasn't until I quit my job and I let go of that stability, at least in my mind, that I had. Because honestly, like, even if the most stable job that you have, like, everything is uncertain. And I think COVID was a perfect example of that. That things that we kind of really hold these deep attachments to because we want to be stable and we want to just make sure that we know what the next step is going to be. Like, I had a friend who, her husband was recently laid off a job that he's been in for so many years and he was super good at because he didn't have a college career. And they started requiring college career for that thing. And it was like mind-blowing. Like, they were shocked and surprised that all of a sudden, like, he was jobless, and now it's hard for him to get that same job again because he didn't have a college career in that. So it was like starting over, changing career. So I felt like we were kind of both in this situation where we're like uncertainty and we don't really know what's going to be the next step. But honestly, those times when we face uncertainty, they can be like a really growing time. It can be when we're growing our roots. Like, don't think of it as this horrible thing that's happening. It might just be that this thing is what's making you stronger. It's making you reevaluate. It's making you take a slowing down, like just a breather, and really analyze, how are you living your life? How do you want to live your life? Like, really question those things, not in like a guilting or shaming way, but in a deeper sense. Like, what is it that you want out of life? And don't guilt yourself. Don't shame yourself for wanting the things that you want. But really just be honest. Allow yourself to be honest. What do you want from life? Is this career that you have currently feeling fulfilling? Is there something else that you're feeling in your heart? Like, you kind of feel it bubbling, but you always kind of try to like let it down. Like, no. This is not safe. This is not the job that is for me. This is not what my family wants for me, or whatever it might be. Ask yourself, what is it that you value in life? What is it that you want out of life? Are you living a life that aligns with those values, with that thing that you really want to do? This can be super powerful just alone to take a moment to slow down. And especially when we're going through trials, we're going through challenges. But even if you're not, taking the time to actually think about what your goals and your values are, what are your dreams, just allowing yourself to dream. I'll go back to this podcast that I heard one time from Mel Robbins. She was talking about how our dreams are really like that compass, like a lighthouse. They kind of guide us. We have this internal desire to do something. And when we're kids, we kind of just naturally follow it. So, for example, a kid will want to be like a police officer or something. And then all of a sudden they're like playing and they're the police officer, and they're kind of like acting that out, and they kind of live it out in their imagination, right? But when we're adults, like, we have this dream, we have this desire. Well, maybe I want to be a cake decorator. I want to be an interior home designer. But we, as adults, we shut that down. We repress that. We tell ourselves all the reasons why it won't work, or we hear it from other people, and then we kind of get fear, and then we're like, oh no, changing career, that's not a good idea. It's not very smart. And it doesn't even have to be career. This is just the example that I think of, because it really happens a lot. It happens very often. I think that for me, I definitely wanted to stay in a specific career because it was stable and it was safe, and I knew and I felt that all the hours that I was working, and it didn't feel right for me, but I stayed because it felt safe. And as adults, like, we have to worry about paying bills. A little kid doesn't have to worry about paying the bills to pretend to be the police officer, right? What she was saying is that we, as adults, we put a lid on our dreams. And if you imagine it like a jar, like it's spewing all sorts of dreams and desires, but we put a cap on it, and we don't allow ourselves to dream any further. And when we do that, we're really not allowing ourselves to be able to kind of go towards that life that we want to live. And so we keep on saying that we want this particular life, but we're not going after it because we ourselves are shutting that down. And those desires that you have within you are what are kind of guiding you towards that life that you want to live. Chances are, if you've been looking into minimalism, decluttering videos, and just different ways that you can simplify life and just slow down, that you're already feeling that seed that you need to slow down, that you're maybe going too fast, you're going through the motions, and you're not actually enjoying your life as you feel like you could be. That might just already be that kind of little desire inside you bubbling, saying, there's more. There's more that I want out of life. There's more that I want to give. There's more that I want to do. I have more potential. But don't put that lid on that. Don't put that lid on that potential. Don't put that lid on those dreams and those desires. Take a moment to slow down and ask yourself, what do I want out of life? How do I want to live my life? And instead of like focusing on all the things that are going wrong in the world and all the reasons why you can't do a particular thing, like actually ask yourself, how can I achieve this? Instead of saying it could never be. And one of the things that has really, really helped me in achieving really just a more positive outlook on life is getting rid of social media. And I have this YouTube channel, and I get bashed a lot on, well, you have this YouTube channel, you have social media. But really, before I even started this YouTube channel, I had no social media at all, including this YouTube channel, for 3 years. And then eventually I started the YouTube channel, and I still don't have any other social media other than this. And it's been something so immensely helpful that now I really catch myself so easily. I will be watching this YouTube channel, whatever, and they're like constantly promoting items, or maybe I'm just comparing myself to this person. Any particular channel where I feel like I'm catching myself comparing, or they're trying to sell me on things that I'm like, oh, it just kind of feels like I'm trying to get into that consumerist mindset through these videos. Not like I'm trying, but it happens. Then immediately I'll like unsubscribe, I'll unfollow. And sometimes I even go to my phone and I put like hide notifications, or what is it called? There's a button. Hold on a sec. I'm gonna find it. There's a button where you can go to your YouTube videos. And if you do not like a particular YouTube video, then you can go underneath it and then put do not recommend channel. So you can put not interested, do not recommend channel. And because I don't have any other social media, I don't have like accounts to unfollow, but I would definitely recommend like unfollowing, unsubscribing for people that make you feel like you need more all the time. Maybe you're comparing yourself a lot to that particular person. They might be a really good person and might have really good intentions, but you feel like they have that life that you would want, or you feel less than when you're constantly like looking at those people, or they're fear-based accounts that are constantly telling you like the economy is about to crash and all these things are going to happen. Like the news is a big one. If you're watching the news, I would highly recommend to like stop that. Like I wouldn't even say like lower it down, stop that, because people are already going to tell you the news anyway. Like I've had people tell me like, you don't have a TV, well how do you know about things in life? I'm like, trust me, everybody else that's afraid of that tells me all the time anyway. So why do I need to hear it from them and watch it on TV and hear it on my phone and all these things? So just really paring down and tailoring the things that you are consuming, that you are receiving, to those things that are positive. For me, it's definitely my Bible, prayer, podcasts, YouTube videos that are positive in nature, where I can actually learn something, books, audiobooks, things like that, and then stopping as much as I can all that negative input, because it comes anyway. It's going to come through people anyway. So you might as well tailor it yourself to that of things that are positive, things that are helping you get towards that priority, the thing that you actually want out of life. This way, it's kind of like the horse that has those little, whatever those things are. If you've ridden horses, you can tell me what those things are that they put in their eyes. So that way you're like focused, you're set in one direction. You're not focusing on all this other stimuli in life that is already going to come your way. And before we end this video, I want to leave you with a very powerful exercise if you're up for the challenge. And this is to go down in the comments below and answer 2 questions. I always do this. Like this is 4, not 2. But the first one will be, what is your priority that you say that you value, but you're actually not prioritizing currently? And number two is how or what actions can you take to actually make that priority aligned with your values? What is that thing that you're saying that you actually value, but you're not living in the way that really shows that you value that? And how, what actions can you take to actually make that happen, to actually make those things align? And the reason that I say that this is a powerful exercise is because sometimes we feel like we're alone in life. We feel like we're the only ones that are experiencing a particular thing. And this is kind of a similar exercise that I had when I was doing a 5-week course on healing childhood wounds. And I talk about the specific, like one of the specific wounds that I had in my video, my love story. So if you've seen that video, you're already aware, and I don't want to like rant on about that. But I really didn't want to share within the group that I was having. So we had like this private group where we could talk and send messages and things like that. And all of the homework, all of the answers that we had to our journaling questions and things like that, we had to answer within this group. And I remember for a few days thinking, and I wasn't submitting my homework, and the psychologist answers back and she's like, this is intentional. Like, this is made so that you allow yourself to be vulnerable, to open up, to share with other people, and to know that you're not alone. And so I just want to try the same thing here too, because a lot of people, if we're already clicking on videos about minimalism and slow intentional living, it's because we want to improve our life. It's because we see this desire, this change that we want to have in our life. And so we can encourage other people and realize that other people are going through those same things. So not to shame yourself. And it can kind of help to remove that shame and remove that guilt. And once I started to admit my wrongdoings and admit my failures and admit my weaknesses to other people, it felt like this weight was lifted off of me. Like, because I already admitted that I struggle with this and I struggle with that. Because like, we all have things that we struggle with. We're all a work in progress. But once I started to own up to those and admit those, I felt this weight lifted. And now it feels like I don't have all these things on my chest that I feel like I can't share with people, because it's like, shoot, I'll tell you the things that I struggle with, because I already know. And it can be really, really powerful too, to have encouragement from other people and maybe have other ideas too. So if you're up for that challenge, be sure to put it down below. What is that thing that you say that you value, but your life hasn't been living in accordance with that? And what actions are you going to take to make sure that those two things align? I'd love to hear from you, and I'm definitely encouraging you on, and know that just the fact of wanting to and having that desire means that you're already making progress, because you're already trying to work towards that life that you want to live. So hopefully you found this video helpful. It's been a bit different, it's been a bit chatty, but I do think on making these kinds of videos sometimes where it's just me talking about the things that I feel on my heart. Because like I said, we'll talk about all the beautiful aesthetics and how to have a cozy home and a clean home and all those things, because I have children, so I have a home to manage. But I feel like most of the time, like, my home is not chaotic, and it's a place that I love to come home to, and it's a place that I feel happy in because of all the things that I've done. And so we'll talk about those things, but I do not want to skip out on all the other issues that we have, like, internally and all that decluttering inside. I definitely want to approach minimalism through an inside out approach and declutter all those things that are unhidden. So if you like this sort of content, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss when I post a new video. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, because it really helps support my channel. I thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.